But I'm getting the feeling you keep a low profile. You don't really have too much trouble at school, right?
No. And it's funny because 12 has been like the longest year for me. Like, like all the other people I know are already like 13. And I'm like, I'm almost there, but it's like seems so far away. Like
Yeah. When's your birthday?
July 25th, so
Okay,
I'm
so
just
you're
like,
almost 13.
yes, almost there.
Welcome back to the Box of Feelings. I am so proud of you for continuing to unpack that is energy in motion. I am your easily excited host, Ra Kalan, and I'm particularly pleased with today's episode. So let me rattle off my to-do list, things that I would appreciate if you would participate in. Have you subscribed to this platform already? Because if you haven't, I would greatly appreciate you doing so. One, just so that I know that you're tuning in, and two, so that I also can update you as soon as this next episode comes out in 2 weeks. I want it to be as easy as possible for you to be able to locate. And then, if you haven't already, please follow us at 3 in Motion on Instagram and Facebook. On the Thursday mornings that I don't put out an episode, I go live on Instagram at 9 a.m. So you definitely want to make sure that you follow so that you can keep up with me and see what's going on, as well as see behind the scene clips of me and my guests. So, speaking of guests, I am so elated to finally get to bring Amaya Knight to Energy in Motion. Y'all, she is so dope. So dope. You might recognize the last name Knight as being a little familiar. Well, a couple of episodes ago, you got to hear from her phenomenal mother, Letitia Knight, of the Authenticity Movement. And truly, greatness runs in their blood, because this young lady, Amaya, is just so articulate and funny and genuine and transparent and thoughtful and empathetic. And I could go on, or I could just let you listen to our awesome conversation. So, welcome to the mind of Amaya Knight as she grows up. So, Amaya, in the 7th grade, what do you spend most of your time thinking about?
The grades are like really concerning to me, and then I feel like, if I don't meet the expectations or meet just, what I think of, and really, I'm really just being the enemy to myself, like I'm putting high expectations on myself, and then I don't really know how to really get up to them. So it like sometimes, so it just, frustrates me, and I find myself frustrated with that.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Did you remember when you started doing that?
Honestly, I can say probably like in 5th grade.
Was there a moment like that really triggered that for you?
Because I just kept on hearing, like it's downhill from here, really. Everybody would say it was downhill. Like your grades really matter. I'm like, okay.
You'll have to tell me what things have come to when in the 5th grade things are downhill from there. I'm sorry. I didn't know. No one gave me the memo that everything was downhill from the 5th grade. I heard from 25 and up everything was downhill, but Lord, things are escalating quickly for this upcoming generation. And the girl has so much insight when she starts talking about how she was her own worst enemy. What? At 12? What? So it was what everybody else was saying.
Yes, really. That was it. Everybody was like, it's downhill from here. I was like, oh.
What message did your mom give you about grades?
She gave me that she wants me to do really well, but it really depends on me because, in order to get a good education, you have to have good grades, but it just depends on me. She was like, I'm not really going to push you too much because that might not be what you want, and of course I do want a really good education, but she just like helps me feel better, like she's not pushing on me, because that's what makes me, even really kind of worse is like if someone's like pushing on me and like stop.
Yeah, give you breathing room. Now, of course, not every child is created equal. Not every kid is going to be so internally motivated to want to succeed like Amaya is. However, the fact that she has a parent that communicates with her and asks her questions about what would be best for her motivation is going to be a huge advantage to her as she grows up. And I know there are a lot of other children who aren't being asked what would work best for them, when that would be the easiest way, the path of least resistance to rearing them. Yeah, your mom is pretty dope in the fact that she definitely wants it to be a partnership between the two of you working together to make you feel good about the things you're striving to accomplish. Because she knows, like I know, like you're learning, I'm sure, I can be really hard on myself. And you said something really beautiful. You said essentially you can become your own biggest enemy because of how much you push on yourself. And so, is there a reoccurring feeling you experience on top of that frustration you feel with you? Are there other feelings that you're kind of already tired of feeling?
I'm tired of feeling, like really kind of shy, to be honest with you, because just say in class, I usually and our teachers ask us like, "Are there any questions?" And I stay quiet even if I have a question, and it's like me in my mind, like face palming myself, like, "Stop doing that!" But then it's like I just won't open my mouth and say, I have a question. And
Yeah.
I'm really tired of doing that. So, I've been doing that on like the Zooms now. I ask questions. So it's really helped me.
Absolutely. And sometimes even just being able to not feel so uncomfortable in the space, having a virtual atmosphere does give us some courage to start asking questions. What do you think you're afraid of? What do you think it is that makes you not ask the questions usually?
Usually because I think that, other people in the classroom will think I'm dumb, it's just that's just how it is in, middle school. That's how people kind of make you feel sometimes. Like, if you don't do this, oh, you're like weird and dumb and something.
So, if this is just how it is in middle school, then why are there so many adults still afraid to speak up in meetings, in social events? Why are there so many of us in adulthood afraid to set boundaries and advocate for ourselves? Yeah, I don't think this is just a middle school thing. And Amaya will learn that what she's deciding to do right now, as she decides to speak up in little ways, which will become big ways, is going to set her at an advantage that will benefit her the rest of her life. Does it seem weird to you? Does it ever, because it used to always, I'm an old soul. I was an old soul when I was your age. I'm an old soul now. I always used to watch that behavior when I'd see people wait for someone to make a mistake just so they could like dogpile on them or have something to distract and make fun of. I always used to think there has to be something weird going on here, that you are actively waiting for someone to do something to embarrass them about. Do you find that as weird as I do?
It really is because, sometimes the okay, I don't even know. This is really weird, but there have been situations where, you do the things that are trending and stuff, and then somebody messes up on it, like a dance or something. And then you have the other friends clowning them on it and just laughing at them like, "What is that? What are you doing?" And you see, the look on the other person's face. And sometimes they might laugh it off, but it's definitely like, they're sad about it. And what's become apparent to me through all these episodes of Energy in Motion is that embarrassment is such a huge thing we're all so desperately trying to avoid. And that's probably a fear that comes directly from childhood and because of how traumatic that was for a lot of us in childhood. So whether we're talking about rejection, whether we're talking about connection, feeling secure with people, insecurities, if we're talking about being ambitious and going out and getting something that you don't necessarily always feel worthy or deserving of receiving, it is always about being afraid of being embarrassed at messing up at what everybody else is trying to do. And we just really have to get past that. And this ties directly into
childhood insecurities and fears. So, my next major question to Amaya is, what is she seeing girls her age struggle with? And not just girls, but peers in her age group. What are young people struggling with?
At some point, you're gonna see like these like group of 10 girls wearing the same exact pants, and it's like, can you be different at some point? You know,
Yeah.
it's just they just follow each other in everything they do, and I like being around different people, and that's what school has done for me a lot. But it's just some people, you just see them doing the same exact thing. You kind of get to be able to like kind of group them a little bit, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, have
So,
you heard of the saying, birds of a feather flock together?
yes.
Yeah, and it starts to look like that. Why do you think there is such a dependency on looking like everybody else at this point in life for your peers?
It's just because, with like social media and everything, if you look that way, you're gonna get followers or people that like your videos or your photos. So it's just, that's what they want. That's what some of them want. And for some reason, I don't know, the other ones that say that they don't have social media, I'm like, then why are you doing it? But they just, want to gain popularity in the school, I guess. And I don't think it's about that. That, I have seen myself, kind of try to push myself to being popular, but the way they really treat each other is, I wouldn't want to be in that place.
Yeah, how do you see them treat each other? Talk about that.
Like some of them can be like extremely fake. Like, you can see one girl hanging out with another girl and them saying they're really good friends. And then one of the girls turns their back on someone, and then
She begins to pretend that she's the victim to take the shame and the attention off of herself and distract on someone else because of her own insecurities, and and I think we're all familiar with the story. The popular people who deep down inside don't very much like themselves, and so distract by putting embarrassing situations upon other people just to take the heat off themselves. And for very aware Amaya, looking into the popular groups of peers and friends doesn't seem as glamorous as it might be to other students, because she understands, if I'm casting stones at other folks, it's because I must have some stones that I'm carrying around with me.
I believe that. It's because, I mean, I have said stuff about other people before, and I was really just talking about what was not, what was broken inside of me, and now I don't want to do that. So it's like, I'm trying, I'm trying to get myself better during this quarantine.
Oh my, I so deeply wish more people could take a note, a page, a letter out of your book, because yeah, I think that we all have to recognize we've all talked about people before. We've all cast stones before, but it was about us. And the level of insight that shows from you, I am just blown away. When did you find yourself starting to think like that? Starting to realize that it was about you instead of being about them?
I mean, I remember, it's funny because my mom would always talk about it, and although I might like have that look on my face to her that like, oh my goodness, will she stop talking? I'm like taking it in. I'm like, wow, that's powerful. But yeah, that's pretty much how I really got to that point. She tells me everything, and she really helps me. I really appreciate my mother.
Oh yeah. I really appreciate your mother too. She's phenomenal. Especially just with, I love how she loves you. It reminds me very much of how I was loved by my own mother. And that's why I'm so excited for you, because a little bit of talking to you reminds me, as any elder person says, of talking to my younger self, because I would observe other people and I'd be like, gosh, you really do act like nobody loves you. You just out here acting like nobody cares about you, because that's what it felt like when people would behave or misbehave. So getting to have a conversation with a young lady who is as well loved as you are, it's an honor. And it really is an honor, because doing the work that I do with the nonprofit Girls Inc. of Tarrant County, I encounter many young women who have not experienced being believed in, being listened to, being connected with, being valued for something that does not have a conditional level to it. And that is exhausting. So while it exhausts me to know there are young women out there experiencing that feeling, I take it as a privilege to have a conversation with a young woman who is loved and fueled by that love and excited about the love she's receiving and turning that love into something phenomenal in her life. And with all that love and with all that momentum that Amaya is building, I wanted to know what was next for her. What is she interested in? What gets her excited about what's coming up? And of course, her answer was perfect. People just can't seem to help but to want to always be at that next milestone. So if you are in the 7th grade, you're probably thinking about what it's going to be like when you get into high school. And when you're in high school, you're thinking about what it'll be like when you get to college. So when it comes to milestones, is there a next milestone that you're really excited about?
I don't. I mean, I'm okay with what I am right now. I can wait, and I don't really. I think just still having life is just, it doesn't matter. So I don't I don't really know.
Yeah, that's like the perfect answer. Yeah. And the reason why is because all you have is now. All there is right now. And so being happy and thankful and content where you are is like the perfect thing to be. How are you going to trick me out of my own question, Amaya? How are you going to have the perfect answer to stuff like that? That's I should have thought of that. Ugh. So, what have been defining moments in your life that you feel like have let you know that you're Amaya, that you're nobody else, that you are this fabulous human being that you are?
Really, this is one thing that like really started me off is like this happens a lot. My mom might be on Facebook and she might have posted a picture about me, and then she tells me what they say about me and stuff. And it's not necessarily that they say stuff about me, but they say like she has like a beautiful smile. She's a beautiful young lady. So then I take that into consideration. I'm like, I am, aren't I? Like, oh yeah, I am. So it just, I kind of take it as like an affirmation and I think about it to myself.
I want you to give some serious thought to what she just said. She's talking about how social media, things her mom posts, impact her personally. So I want you to think about all the different ways young girls, young boys, young people are influenced based off of what is said to them on a daily basis. The insults, the compliments, the reassurance, the disrespect, all of the different things that these young people use to build up what they see themselves as. So I want you to think about this the next time you give a compliment or a criticism to a child, a kid, a young person, a young adult, a human being, a grown person, an elder. I want you to think about how that still, in some capacity, ties into how they see themselves until they further understand that they do not need external validation to validate who they truly are. Is there any words of wisdom that you would give? Because I'd love if you did the take a beat this week. So is there any words of wisdom that you would give to young ladies out there who are struggling with growing up and being insecure, but also having to realize like it's going to be okay? Any advice for them?
Find your way, how you want to be, and really, even if people still criticize, that will always happen. There's nobody that's not going to criticize you. So find your way, and even if somebody criticizes you, I say during this quarantine especially, build your confidence up. It's plenty of time. It's funny because we've always said that we never had time for anything before this quarantine, and now we have all the time in the world. So it's just time to build your character up, know who you are, because right now you're having trouble navigating around everything, and it's hard. I know.
And I think that's why people can trust you. Just like you say, when I talk, people can trust me. When you speak, because I can tell you're speaking from experience, I trust you. It's like, it is hard. It is hard, but it doesn't mean that we can't navigate it together. I think that would be a beautiful take a beat moment. Well, Amaya, then you have done fabulous. Thank you for joining me for this conversation.
I'm so happy you invited me. Like, you said you wanted me on. I was like, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You are making history. You are the youngest guest on Energy and Motion ever. She is a breath of fresh air. She is a young person who gives me hope. She is Amaya Knight. Thank you so much, young lady, for joining me on Energy in Motion. I can go ahead and tell you I'm going to invite you back as a reoccurring guest because your epiphanies and your insights enlighten my epiphanies and my insights, and they inspire me so profoundly. You will never understand the impact you've made on me, girl. And I hope you can't. That way we have things to always talk about. So thank you, Letitia, for birthing Amaya and bringing her into this space. Thank you, Amaya, for blessing Energy in Motion. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in and hearing this young woman's amazing experiences and input. Tribe, I just cannot explain to you how I am so excited, so dynamically excited for what is to come for us. There are young people like Amaya growing and thinking and feeling and building, and we are going to be more than okay. So I hope you're excited like I am. Thank you for everything. And as always, Energy in Motion family, you get to feel whatever you may feel, and you will always deserve to heal. Peace.